Hello, hello out there world. I think that you're probably watching. I'm just waiting for confirmation that we are connected, and I've got it. We are connected. Hello, everybody. Dane here from Moving to Canada. I'm joined today by Moving to Canada's editor Mr. Hugo O'Doherty, and we're here today to talk to you guys about the latest express entry draw. We just had a draw take place a couple minutes ago, so we're gonna jump into those results in just a minute, but we are gonna wait a couple of seconds for some people to join. So in the meantime, Hugo, how are you doing out there? How's Montreal life treating you?
Pretty good, Dane. It's not bad. It's good to see you. Hello, everybody out there.
You see me all the
Montreal's
time. Don't
see you too
don't
much, but
pretend.
it's always a good time. Montreal is okay. Canada's second largest city. We're in the middle of winter here, so um, it's cold. I think it's about -10 out today. That's -10 Celsius, which is kind of par for the course this time of year, and we're living under a bit of a curfew right now. If you go outside after 8 p.m., you get fined thousands of dollars. Unless you have a dog. I have a dog, so sometimes I use that as my ticket to post 8 o'clock walk. Um, so life is good. Life is good. These latest measures seem to be having the desired effect.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's a clutch time in the world to have a dog for more reasons than one. But yeah,
yeah.
I saw Montreal's COVID numbers are going down, which is great news. Hopefully it stays that way. Okay, but we've got about 40 people tuning in right now, so we're gonna jump into the draw results. Just before we do, if you guys are out there and you're watching the live stream and you have any questions about the express entry draw results that we're covering today, if you have questions about Canadian immigration, if you have questions about what it's like being under curfew in Montreal or what life is like here where I am in Nova Scotia, drop them in the comments. We'll answer a couple of your questions here at the end of the video. But let's jump into it. I'm just going to switch over so I can pull up our reporting on the latest draw results. So, Hugo, I've got our webpage pulled up here, but just for all of our viewers, can you tell them what happened in today's draw, how many people were invited, what types of candidates were invited, and what was the CRS score cutoff?
Whoa, it's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So today it was a program specific draw. And Dane, by that we mean that not all candidates who were in the express entry pool were necessarily eligible for selection. Typically, that is the case where the government just says everyone above this score, you're going to be invited today. Today they did issue a score cutoff. It was 471 points, but there was sort of like a double threshold where you have to have 470.
741 points.
Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah. 741. Thank you. 741 points and have a provincial nomination. So, given that you get 600 points for your provincial nomination anyway, we're looking at the government going pretty deep into the pool for provincial nominees, if that makes sense. So, potentially, there were people with fewer than 200 core CRS points who would have been invited today, which is exciting in its own right. But on the other hand, this is very much a minority of candidates in the pool. In fact, only 374, I think I got that right,
Yeah.
374 candidates were invited today. Typically, in an all program draw, we'd see at least 10 times that number and sometimes more than that. We've seen up to draws with up to 5,000 people invited in the last few months.
Yeah,
So
and I'm just going
today,
to pull open
374.
our table with the recent draw results so people can see comparatively. You see back in November, we had just hit a streak of 5,000 invitations for 4 draws in a row there.
Yeah.
So it's tiny in comparison.
So, like, Dane, maybe it's worth, explaining very quickly what a provincial nomination means. How do you get this? Like, who issues that? Is it the same people that run express entry, or is it different people? What is a provincial nomination? Just so people can understand the potential ways to increase their score.
For sure. So Canada has 13 different provinces and territories. Here, I'm just going to pull back up our initial analysis so people can read along if they want to. So Canada has 13 provinces and territories. Of those, 11 of them run provincial or territorial nominee programs. So these are when the province or the territory lays out its own sort of immigration targets. It might seek immigrants for a specific occupation vacancy in their province. They might seek people who have family in the province. But these provinces and territories get to decide, we want to nominate these people based on our own needs, and these are the people that we're going to bring into our province. So those are provincial nominations. There are these mini sort of immigration programs that the provinces and territories can design on their own that allow them to nominate prospective permanent residents. Now, of the provincial nominee programs, this is important to understand. Some of them are aligned with express entry, and some of them are not aligned with express entry. So whenever you see an express entry draw that's limited to PNP candidates, it's always talking about those candidates for the express entry aligned provincial nominee programs. And if you can score a provincial nomination through one of those express entry aligned PNPs, you get an additional 600 points added to your CRS score. As Hugo mentioned earlier, that's why when we see PNP specific draws, we see the CRS score cutoff so high, because everybody's had that 600 points added to their CRS score cutoff. So if you're looking for information about provincial nominee programs, you want to kind of figure out, what might be an option for me, I'm going to recommend checking out our PNP Live Tracker, and I'm just showing you how to get to it from our website here. Head down into the immigration menu, provincial programs, and then right at the top there, PNP Live Tracker. And we track all of the latest draw results, so everybody's getting invited from PNPs. And we also have this nifty little tool. I'm just going to wait for this to load here, but it's a nifty tool that you can use to sort the different types of provincial nominee programs that are out there. So just going to give it a second to load. There we go. So you can click this little button that says find the right PNP stream for you, and it's going to show you this fun table. So you can search by different things. You can search like occupation. So let's say you want to know what PNPs might be options for nurses. It'll give you a list here. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily qualified for all of these streams, but it's just a way to filter the options because there are more than 80 different PNP streams, and it can be a lot to have to research. Yeah, so that's your quick overview of Canada's provincial nominee programs, and I'm just gonna nab that link and pop it into the comments section here for anyone who's watching, in case you want to go check out the PNP tool for yourselves. And I just put that in.
While you're doing that, Dane, I might just suggest that this might not be the only express entry draw that we see this week, right? Mm-hmm. Traditionally, and by traditionally I mean since last spring, when there's been a PNP draw on a Wednesday, it is usually, if not always, followed by a Canadian Experience class draw later that same week, either on the Thursday or the Friday. Typically, those draws are larger, upwards of 4,000 invitations more recently for those draws. And yeah, so we could be back with you tomorrow or on Friday, all of yours, bringing you news of a Canadian Experience class draw.
Yeah, so you can see here in the draw history that alternating PNP and CEC draws that we saw, especially in the early days of the pandemic. So yeah, stay tuned, especially if you're a CEC candidate. The cutoff for CEC candidates in the last draw, which was just under 2 weeks ago, is 461 points. So if you're around that score, you're CEC, keep your eyes peeled because this could be a big week for you guys. So that about covers it for the express entry draw results for today. Let me go into our comment section, see if we've got anybody asking. So Joe is asking us, when is there going to be an ANIP draw? I'm guessing you just mixed up the letters there and we're asking an Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program draw. So that's, again, one of the PNPs that we were talking about. And incidentally, Alberta announced the results of an express entry draw, their first express entry draw since June. They announced those results yesterday, but the draw itself happened back on January 8th. But it is good news for people who have been hoping Alberta will restart draws, because it's been more than 6 months since we've seen anything come out of there.
that's probably a good example of how different provinces operate their PNP streams in different ways. Like Dane, we're used to getting results from BC every Tuesday night, uh, almost like clockwork. It's like the sun rising in the morning. BC will is going to do a draw on a Tuesday night. Um, Manitoba, at least once a month we get draw results from there. Alberta, typically, they can go months and months, as we've just seen, and then when they announce those results, they're not necessarily in real time. So yeah, different provinces operate their programs in different ways. It's different governments, it's different people.
Hmm.
Canada's a federation, and different provinces like to do things in different ways, and that's just a fact.
Yeah, and that's something that you will inevitably get used to
Yeah.
once you are here in Canada. Um, so one other thing that we wanted to show off to you guys today is just the Moving to Canada account, because we have a fun little update that came out this week. So I've popped a link. It's actually the link in the pinned comment here in the Facebook feed for the Moving to Canada account, and this is what the landing page looks like. Of course, Hugo and my faces are kind of covering part of it, but it's a free account. All you have to do is input your name, email, and create a password, and you'll get access to a ton of freebies, including you'll see our Getting Started guide, our resume templates, free resume templates for Canadian-style resumes, access to like tons of immigration roadmaps that we've been putting together. But the big thing here is the Getting Started guide, because we have just updated that guide. We update it every year, and we just updated it for 2021. That's the year that it is. So it's got a ton of new resources and new information in there. And if you haven't created an account with us before, now is a great time to do so. And again, the link for that is right there in the pinned comment.
And even if you haven't created an account, oh sorry, even if you have created an account previously, this Getting Started guide, we've made a number of edits based on the fact that 2020 was quite the year globally, and things changed. There's new immigration programs. We've added some destination guides. We've got some new roadmaps. There's all sorts of juicy stuff in there. So even if you have read one of our previous Getting Started guides, it's really worth downloading the latest version for 2021. And Dane, the way we've got the link there in the pinned comment. So
Yeah.
whether you're a new or returning visitor to the website, free account, get your Getting Started guide, because ever since we started sending that to people this week, we've had really good feedback. Had people in my inbox telling me how much they're enjoying the guide. So really want to get the word out there.
Yeah, it looks good. It's a nice new shiny guide. So look, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into our live stream for today. We hope we were able to bring you some of the information that you were looking for, probably not the results you were hoping for, unless you're one of those lucky 374 provincial nominees. But we'll do a quick recap of the draw results. As I said, it was 374 invitations. Hugo, what was the CRS score cutoff?
741. I had to read that twice there before I said it, but it's
Yeah,
definitely 741.
it is. You got it this time. And of course, the important caveat for today's draw is that only provincial nominees were considered. Again, as Hugo mentioned, there's a good chance a CEC draw will take place either tomorrow or Friday. Stay tuned to our feed. We'll go live once we have those draw results. Thank you for joining me again, Hugo. Always a pleasure to chat with you. Um,
The pleasure's all mine, then.
I got a second monitor for these live videos, so I keep looking over here. I'm gonna have to train myself not to do this because it just looks like I'm looking right off screen. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you probably in a day or two when we go live again.